Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the Saturday Chat.
Saturday Chat.
Dave, Ashley, SugarLimeBlue, where we're chatting about our Sunday shout-out tomorrow.
Ozzy Osbourne. Woo!
Have you been a long-time Ozzy Osbourne fan?
I mean, I've liked Ozzy for quite a while. I never really disliked him. I was never super into him like some people, you know?
Yeah.
And, I mean, I always totally respected Black Sabbath for writing heavy riffs. And I never got... So this song that we're doing, which is My Mom Coming Home, was really big when I was in high school.
Yeah.
It came out in 91. And I never understood the backlash of like, oh, you know, like the satanic music and all this stuff and all the craziness that went along with the hoopla with it. And I think that Ozzy, honestly, I think that some of the reason Black Sabbath and Ozzy was so big was because of the backlash against it.
That's exactly
people wanted to go find it, you know, figure out what was going on, and then they hear it and they're like, no, this is like really melodic and good.
Yeah.
And the riffs are awesome and the singing's great and the melodies are amazing.
I read this one interview. He was speaking on religion. He said he didn't talk a lot about religion, and I think part of that was because it was not necessarily a gimmick that he had designed, but a gimmick that he made the most of.
Yeah.
So he said he had a symbiotic relationship with the far-right Christian movement because they would tout him as satanic or anti-Christian at the best, right? And he said, I keep them in jobs.
Yeah.
So evidently he kind of was a little tongue-in-cheek about it, but he professed later in life that he was christened into the Christian church, and a lot of people said he actually prayed before a lot of his shows, but that wasn't public knowledge. So his religious belief wasn't
interesting
part of the public because it was kind of his.
Well, do you know the most famous incident? Like one of the things that he was known like.
Was it the bat?
Yeah, so you know about the bat incident?
It was accidental. He just made the most.
Yeah, so he thought it was like a rubber bat because apparently people...
That was a thing.
And, you know, as like a shock factor, he bit the head off this bat.
It was real.
And it was real. And he ended up having to get rabies shots and all sorts of things.
Yeah, so, he was super freaked out about it. So, but he just played along. Because, I mean, I know as a performer... When you're in the moment, when you're on your stage, that space is your performance space. And you're in character, so to speak, while you're in your performance zone. And when you come out of that space, then you can freak out and get your rabies shot.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I mean, I guess like switching gears a little bit, Ozzy was on my radar because he always had like great guitar players with him, you know. He had started off with Tony Iommi and Black Sabbath, and then later on, of course, Randy Rhoads, who died early at a young age, and that like it was considered
that was really sad.
One of his, I think they were close friends too. And
they had just had a falling out like a month before, mostly because of his substance abuse issues. So if you're not aware, like Ozzy dealt with a lot of substance abuse issues, and they influenced his marriage. They influenced his band. He was actually fired from Black Sabbath because of substance abuse. So this is when he was in his solo career.
Later on.
He had falling. He had actually fired his entire band, but had no memory of it. So they continued on with the tour, but that relationship never fully mended. There was only a month between the falling out and when he passed. It was a plane crash, right? I believe it was a plane crash. And then, so it never had the time to mend completely. Exactly. So that's sad.
And then this guitar player is Zakk Wylde, who was a great guitar player in his own right, but had to follow in the footsteps of Randy Rhoads, but did a great job. You know? And man, like retrospect, you know, it's like freaking what a catalog of music that he put together, and rewarded in some ways, never really hit the Billboard charts. Like, in fact, this was one of his only top 40 hits, like this and a duet with Lita Ford were his only top 40 hits. And I was surprised to learn that you know, I wasn't as, like I said, I wasn't as into Ozzy as some
Right.
people were, and so I didn't have all the records and
I actually shied away from him because a lot of that press, like the Bat thing
Yeah.
and the way that the band dressed and Black Sabbath, it seems so ominous. You know, I just shied away. It wasn't. I was like, that's not for me. But listen to the music. It's like, wait, this is really good musicianship and actually very thought provoking lyrically. A lot of it. So
so this song was actually co-written, and most of the lyrics were written, if not
by
all
Lemmy.
of them, by Lemmy from Motorhead, which I was inspired to learn. But like the lyrics, I think that, you know, he was either contracted to write or like Sharon bought like 3 or 4 songs off of him for this album.
I think he did 4 songs.
I think that Ozzy did have some input because he said that, like, this is a saying that he used to say to Sharon, like, at the end of the tour, Mama, I'm coming home. So that...
I know it was written with her in mind, and I think it was a co-write with Lemmy, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It was co-write.
But he's credited with writing all the lyrics. I think it's like more like Ozzy had the ideas and maybe a word
melody,
or two. And he helped put the melody together with Zakk Wylde. They, you know, he restructured it with him. And I think that also he said that the song was like right around the time that he had given up drugs and alcohol, and that it also was kind of a theme song for him personally, that, like, you know, to...
He said, the thing that I read is he recognized that if he continued down the path of substance abuse that he was on, that he would just be dead.
Yeah.
And I think the value, now this is me surmising, the value that he had on his relationship with Sharon, he wanted that to usurp the issues he was having with the substance abuse. So he wanted that change. He didn't want to be absent from the relationship, and he was seeing this wake of destruction that he was leaving, like not remembering firing your band has got to affect you.
Yeah. You know, it's pretty wild to think of, you know.
Well, he had to go to rehabilitation because he actually put hands on Sharon, and she made him, because she doesn't suffer any fools.
She don't play around.
No, she don't play around. So she made him go to rehab, and it took some doing to get her back to where she felt like she could trust him again. But I mean, what a love story to love somebody through such a hard time.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that attracted me to Ozzy Osbourne, because I kind of came to him sideways. It wasn't like, I mean, I knew the songs, like the Black Sabbath, Paranoid, and War Pigs, and, you know, a couple of
I came to War Pigs through Government Mule.
Yeah. So I was like familiar with that from Black Sabbath. And I think one thing that really attracted me to them was I knew this guy when I was in my 20s, and his name was Mark, and he really loved Ozzy. And I mean, he loved him so much, you know. And I knew other kids in school prior to that. You know, Mark I knew after high school.
Okay.
And when I was in high school, I remember the Ozzy fans were like really into Ozzy, and I was like, "Is it just because they were revolting?"
Well, that's what. Are you being rebellious?
Well,
yeah,
what is
yeah.
it?
Because
Like,
I knew those kids too.
It wasn't something I was quite into just yet.
Yes.
You know, and then I heard some of the music, and I was like, "Wow, okay, no, that's pretty good." But then one thing that drew me into Ozzy was the passion, specifically of Mark, but of his fans that are like, "Wow, like, you know, they were passionate about Ozzy.
Yeah, you don't meet
they felt
a halfway Ozzy fan.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm half-hearted. I listen to Ozzy sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
And he was like it's weird. It was like he was like a beacon of light and inspiration, and like, you know, to them. You know, and I remember Mark, like, you know, he really liked Ozzy. We didn't play any Ozzy in our band, but he helped us, like, I guess you could say, I don't know, like, he was more like almost like a friend that hung with the band, but he would run sound. Well, he didn't run sound as much. He ran lights, and he would help us move gear. And in that, all, you know, in exchange for like $20 and a few beers, you know. And he's one of those guys, like, you know how you have people in your life that aren't there, they're not there forever, but they're there for a period and make an impact. You know? And I was just thinking about him when Ozzy passed a couple days ago.
Yeah.
You know, and brought it back in. It's funny how your memories you know, they're not.
You link people to certain things.
You know, and it's like all this came flooding back, and I was like, man, what a cool guy he was. You know, he used to come to the shows and he would rock out to Jewel just as much as he would rock out to Ozzy, you know, in the car.
Yeah.
So it was cool, and he was like, you know, I hope that we were there for him in some kind of way. It was obvious that even though at the time, you know, he was in his young 20s, we were in our young 20s, and we had some things going on, and oftentimes I think you're oblivious to what other people are going through and going on at
especially in that stage of life. You're so self-consumed.
He may have been going through some stuff, you know, and I don't know, you know, and I've stayed distant friends with him through the years, you know, the Facebook friends. Every once in a while I'll see his posts, and it's like, but I do think about him quite a bit, you know, and like the Ozzy thing, I'm just thinking, man, hope it, you know, I don't know. It's a tough thing because like you grew up with somebody like that, like, and you're that connected to somebody musically. It's not only like you lose them, the musician, but it feels like you've lost like part of your life because you identify so much of who you are and what you've been through and the music that brought you there. You know, that's one thing that's always been inspiring about music to me.
I think one of the really devastating things about losing a musician is even if they've had their farewell tour, there's always potential for new art. Even if it's through a different conduit, there is a potential for producing somebody else's music or for writing lyrics or for taking up a new bit. Like Jerry Garcia also did painting and whatnot. So when you love an artist, you crave their art. And when the potential for future art is taken away, it's a separate sadness that goes along with the loss of the person. You know, that potential art has also
you feel
gone
so
with them.
Relatable to that person.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost like losing a chunk of yourself. Like, I think it's as real as any relationship, you know?
It's called a parasocial relationship. Yeah. So it's when you feel a connection with somebody that is in the public eye in some form, but they don't know you. Like, you're friends with them, but they aren't friends with you, sort of a situation. Or you have a deep connection with them or their artistry when they may not even know your name. So it's a parasocial relationship. Yeah. It's become very common with the rise of social media platforms like YouTube, even like this, TikTok and Blue Sky, all of the short form video kind of thing, because people are able to put out pieces of their life. Like, we want to share with you guys, and we understand that there are some of you that we chat with that we've never met. Like, we wouldn't know you on the street, but we know your words and we know how they make us feel, and we hope that our words make you feel some kind of way. So it is a connection, but it's a different sort of connection for our technological community, I guess, is what you could call it. Yeah. Well, so here's to Ozzy. And also we lost some other, for us Gen Xers, we lost a lot this last week with Hulk Hogan and Jerome from the Crosby show, like just And I will say that I considered doing a Hulk Hogan song and then quickly decided against it.
He wasn't really the singer. But the 80s was an interesting time.
Oh, yeah. I totally recommend going and listening to the Hulkster in Heaven just to have had that experience. Yeah.
I couldn't make it through it. But
yeah, I won't be doing that one as a shout out, but you can go give your sign off on there.
All right, y'all. So listen to Ozzy and listen to our take on Mama, I'm Coming Home. Let us know what you think. Let us know your favorite Ozzy song. And I don't know if we're going to get back to the rain theme next week or we're going to move along. It's kind of been drug out by a couple of interruptions now, but it's been a good run with the rain song. So we'll see what we do next week.
We do like a theme. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow for our Sunday shout out of Mama, I'm Coming Home, and next week for another Saturday chat.
Peace.